Now, looking at these latest developments, with us today is Dr. Bong Young-shik from the Yonsei Institute for North Korean Studies. It's great to have you with us again, Professor.
Pleased to be here.
Now, there are reports that North Korea have begun dismantling its nuclear facilities. The nuclear facility that was named was the Sohae Satellite Launching Station. Can you tell us more about the station?
North Korea has 6 missile test sites. 2 of them are especially important. This Dongchangli Sohae Satellite Launching Station is the place where so-called Baekdu engine, the intercontinental ballistic missile engine, was tested successfully. So it is believed that the engine tested here in Dongchangli site was used for the Hwasong-15, the ICBM supposedly capable of reaching the United States territory. So dismantling this site means that North Korea does not need to put its ICBM engines to further test, and it might have already acquired the capability to mass produce ICBMs if necessary. But at the same time, this is, as Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, said, that consistent with the commitment that Mr. Kim Jong-un made in his meeting with US President Donald Trump in Singapore.
So you're saying this facility is not necessarily that important for North Korea's nuclear program anymore?
No, I'd like to just repeat what was said by a high-ranked government official in South Korea, that this is better than no action was made by North Korea. But as President Donald Trump emphasizes, that denuclearization of North Korea is such a long and turbulent process. So this is just an important first step, but first step nonetheless. And it is regrettable that North Korean authority, just like the previous case when it closed down the Punggye-ri nuclear test site, refused to invite outside experts for full verification of the effect of this dismantlement. So we are still not 100% clear whether this satellite launching station has been permanently closed down, or it is just closed temporarily, because it is true that the rail-mounted structure and the rocket engine test stand have been eliminated, but we are still waiting for the result of dismantling the main assembly building, where you assemble missile parts, engine parts, and the gantry tower and the fuel bunkers. So if all remaining important structures will be dismantled, then we can say that the missile test site has been completely dismantled.
Pompeo said himself that he will continue to push for to allow North Korea to allow inspectors into North Korea to verify themselves whether the launch site has been dismantled or not. But as you said, in the past, they haven't done that recently. The Punggye nuclear test site that they showed to the press, but not to nuclear inspectors. Do you think North Korea will change their attitudes at any point?
Well, we have to wait and see. It does not help North Korea to build credibility in international society, especially among the nuclear experts and policymakers, if they continue to refuse to bring in outside experts to verify that they have fulfilled their commitment with no doubt. I guess the North Korean authority is still preoccupied with the idea to move along according to its own schedule and calendar. And they seem to be very afraid of letting verification even once. I guess once it accepts the outside investigation or verification, then it will lead to another demand and another demand for fuller and wider verification demands by the United States. And then North Korea's intention to keep its nuclear cards and missile cards close to its chest until it received a reliable security guarantee and massive economic assistance. It will just delay the process of denuclearization. That plan cannot be completed. So is it a trade-off between North Korea accepting verification to build momentum of negotiation and building trust, and North Korea's obsession with keeping its strategic cards available?
So if North Korea really has started dismantling this nuclear facility, and we also heard that there's a second facility that they might be dismantling, What happens next? Do North Korea now say, look, we've shown good faith, what are you going to do for us? Is that the card they're going to play? Or do you think they have to continue showing that they're ready to dismantle more of its nuclear test sites?
North Korean authority already made a point in the third meeting with Secretary Mike Pompeo. Kim Yong-chul insisted that we already made all our promises. It is your turn, United States' turn to show your commitment by taking additional action. And Mike Pompeo said that we canceled all these regular joint military exercises with the South Korean military, but Kim Yong-chul said that that is not a full commitment because of those actions are quickly reversible. You can just bring in your strategic assets to the Korean Peninsula at any time. So it is not like you are getting rid of even one gun. That's what Kim Yong-chul said. So North Korea insists that it is United States' turn to move along with the commitment exchanged by two leaders in the Singapore summit meeting. So although it is highly likely for North Korea to return like the 50 to 55 remains of the US soldiers who died during the Korean War in celebration of the signing of the Armistice Agreement in 1953, which is 27th of this month. I guess after that, North Korea is going to up the demand to the Trump administration to provide some discernible actions in fulfillment of its promise to give North Korea security guarantee.
But what does that look like? What are North Korea's demands? Is it the peace treaty or the end of the declaration of the Korean War, at least, that North Korea are looking for? Is that what they want, or is that too much to ask for right away, do you think?
Well, you're absolutely correct. That's the crown jewel, at least for now, for North Korean authority. It attempts to get that crown jewel from Trump administration. But there are two reasons why Trump administration is reluctant to give that a gift to North Korea. One, when United States joins the other three parties to declare the official end of the Korean War, then military operations will be taken off the table. Trump administration is increasingly concerned about potential weakening of existing economic sanctions as China, Russia, and even South Korea may slowly, departing from the economic sanctions. Then United States wants to keep all options on the table so that even in the absence of the impact of economic sanctions, it can continue to pressure North Korea for denuclearization. But once you declare the war is over, you can hardly justify your choice for military operation. Other countries will not really accept or support the U.S. decision for the use of force to pressure North Korea. So that explains why Washington remains very reluctant to join the declaration of the end of the Korean War.
Speaking of sanctions, the US wants to keep putting pressure on North Korea as a card to denuclearize. But there are already reports that saying actually North Korea is already getting around them, possibly China and Russia helping them. For example, fuel prices at gas stations in North Korea apparently have been going down for the last few months. How do we explain that? Are North Korea really getting around sanctions, or is there some other explanation?
Well, I mean, in our class in Economics 101, you are supposed to be able to calculate the market price by, checking the demand line and supply line, right? But North Korean system cannot be explained in the market mechanism alone, because if the state, in response to harsh economic sanctions, the cutoff of oil import, stop the circulation of oil in the domestic market, then the oil price is going to stay the same, or it can even goes down because people are not allowed to use, oil. So you cannot read too much out of this decline of oil price in North Korean economy. And North Korean economy, even if economic sanctions might be more porous than we anticipated them, North Korean economy cannot resuscitate itself without getting massive economic assistance from outside and escape from the existing economic sanctions entirely. Think about it. 5 major items of North Korean export are banned: coal, coal and the minerals and the textile products and the labor and the fishery products. So North Korea may get around and get away here and there, but they only maintain the very harsh current conditions. It doesn't help North Korean economy to go back to the promising state. North Korean economy recorded minus 3.5% as an annual growth rate for last year, 2017. That was before economic sanctions, most of the harsh economic sanctions were in place. So what kind of economic conditions do we expect to be in this year, 2018? And if economic sanctions remain in place, then North Korean economy will be even worse than 2017 in the next year, 2019. So the problem for Kim Jong-un regime is far bigger, far more urgent. North Korean economy has to receive a major breakthrough, overcoming economic sanctions entirely.
Earlier, you mentioned about the return of the remains of the US soldiers that were killed in the Korean War. That is supposed to expected to happen if on schedule this Friday on the 27th of July, the anniversary of the armistice agreement of the Korean War. Now, but there does seem to be some issues still that haven't been ironed out. There are reports that saying North Korea are asking for monetary compensation again this time, like they did previously. Do you think the return of the remains will actually go ahead this week?
Well, I remain optimistic that the remains will be returned to the United States according to the original schedule, because the report about North Korea demanding financial compensation is not consistent. It is different by different media. Some media report that North Koreans did not ask for any monetary compensation this time. I guess this is a strategic decision by the top leadership to show genuine good gesture toward Washington. So we have to look into the veracity of reports with regard to the North Korea demand for monetary compensation. And even if North Koreans are making monetary compensation, it has been the tradition of the United States to provide very handsome financial compensation for the labor and service by North Koreans. The average money the United States government paid North Korean authority per remain of the U.S. soldier is $50,000. So we are expecting 50 to 55 remains to be returned this time. So you're talking about the multi-million dollars paid by the United States. But United States remain willing, very willing to help the return of the fallen, heroes back home. So money is not a real issue. The issue is a potential violation of the United Nations Security Council resolution, which prohibits transfer of so-called bulk cash to the North Korean authority. It's UN Security Council resolution number 2094. So if the United States Security Council expert committee will make an exception to this time, then United States government will be happy to pay the monetary compensation for North Korea.
Well, we'll have to see what happens this Friday. Thank you for coming in, Doctor, and we'll see you next time as well.
You're welcome.